Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our listeners here. Today, I've got a very special guest with us. It's Federico Lai, the head of customer experience at Trengo. Hi, Federico.
Hello, Amit. How's it going?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
All good, thanks.
Good, good. Just before we started the podcast, I know the reason why you're smiling today so much is you just come back from a holiday, an amazing holiday.
Yes, correct. I went to take some sun in Oman. It's been a great experience, I have to say. Great time. A lot of nature, really local experience, I have to say. So yeah, I'm smiling because I just came back.
You are refreshed. That's all I can say. We all do need a holiday like that. I think after hearing this podcast, a lot of people will go on to travel websites and start booking holidays or searching for one. Okay. Okay. So let's have a bit of an introduction about yourself, first of all, and then can you also tell us a bit about Trengo, please?
Yeah, sure. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Starting with me, yeah, my name is Federico. I'm Italian, as you probably can recognize from my pronunciation. I'm 31 years old, and yeah, I'm currently working at Trengo as a head of customer experience. So I'm mainly responsible for part of the customer-facing team here at Trengo. So customer support, technical support, customer success, and the onboarding team. And they all face different tasks and challenges towards our customers. What Trengo does in a nutshell, Trengo is a customer engagement platform. So that means that Trengo helps you connecting multiple channels that you're using into one and creating specific workflows that can help your productivity towards assisting your customers and basically towards running your activities. We are located in the Netherlands, specifically in Utrecht, and we're a company of 120 approximately employees. Yeah, and we deal with a lot of different customers, right? From e-commerces, automotive, travel industry, a little bit of everything. But our main core ideal customer profile, let's say, is related to customer support. So most of our customers are using Trengo to support better their customers.
Okay, no, that's a bit of an introduction. I would like to know a bit more about you in that sense, okay? Because you are the head of customer experience there. Could you talk us through your journey of how did you end up here? Was it always customer management, customer success, customer support, customer service was what you did? Or what is that story?
Actually, everything starts when I was at the university and I had a big passion for commercial in general. So my first proper working experience, let's say, was actually in a store for a telecommunication company. So it was a face-to-face selling. And then I kept nurturing my passion for sales. Then I lived abroad, so I was in Italy. Then I moved to Spain, and then after finishing my studies, I was looking for, of course, an opportunity, and I ended up in Germany working for the travel industry in this case, still in tech. So in this case, the company name is Trivago, and I worked there for 5 years, but actually started in sales. So I had to convince a lot of hotels to join the tool and to of course gain a lot of advantages from it. And then I kept my journey still in the customer facing teams because again it was and it still is my passion, and I started moving more into retention, account management, and of course a path that I wanted to take was related to leadership. So I started also with a small team and then a bigger team till during COVID, that we all know there was a big impact in all sectors. Travel industry was absolutely hit by it. And we did a restructuring, and then it's the moment where customer success officially started to grow again. So I took that responsibility. And then I was looking for a new challenge, and that's the way I ended up in Trengo, because again, I have a big passion for commercial, and I started in Trengo leading the customer success function. So I started as head of customer success, and now I'm head of customer experience. But in the end, it's all about customers. It's all about communicating and creating relationship with the customers, and that's still what I really like, and what I really like to also teach and talk and try to nurture myself on a daily basis.
No, fantastic. The reason I asked that is because it shows from the way you speak, and it kind of shows that you understand these problems really well. And for someone to do that, you have to start at the roots. You have to start. You have to know what the problem is. You have to be in that role for some time to understand, and then kind of develop yourself and establish yourself there. Okay.
Absolutely.
So the reason why we're here today is we're discussing a topic. And again, this is one of the major things that is affecting the wide customer service, customer experience industry, which is different communication in different channels. Okay. There are so many channels. Back in the day, as we know, when technology wasn't in place, you'd probably write a letter to a company. I think now and again, we do hear about these. Somebody's written a letter to a company. A 7-year-old writes a letter to a company, even though it's cute these days, but nobody uses a letter now. So we have got so many different channels now to communicate with a company or with an organization. It's about efficiency. What are the challenges? Let's start about challenges here, first of all, right? What are the challenges with that? How can companies be more efficient?
That's a really good question, and it's a sort of eternal dilemma, because the more we go ahead with the time, the more channels we see coming up, and especially because we want to be on top of what's going on with the technology, and we are in the era of ChatGPT, AI, and so on. I think that one of the main challenges is actually how can I satisfy my customers, so how I can keep satisfaction towards my customers, and how can I keep being fast by also providing qualitative responses to all the inquiries that I'm receiving. And the more channels you are dealing with, the more complex it could become. And that's where my biggest advice is always try to connect them all together, starting with, right? Try to create a structure. Also for a simple reason, every channel is different. We tend to think that, right, sending a letter, a letter will arrive, and then there will be a response, and that response at some point will arrive. But right now, if I go to a website and I start a chat conversation, for example, it's all about expectations. If I'm starting a chat right now, I'm not expecting an answer tomorrow morning. I'm expecting an answer quite immediately, right? So I think that one of the main challenges is put yourself in the shoes of your customer and what kind of expectation your customer has, and try to create a structure that will fit that. So you're writing a chat, you're going to expect a really fast response. You're writing a WhatsApp, maybe I'm writing it from my phone, right? So then I can still keep doing things, and at a certain point, I'm expecting a response. I'm writing an email, maybe I can receive an answer tomorrow. But that's something that every company should, first of all, try to understand what kind of expectation my customer has based on the channel, and then creating a structure where all these expectations can fit. So biggest advice here is start by using SLAs. Every company should use SLAs, should define, apply, and evaluate SLAs. So if I know that I'm able to respond to that chat in 10 minutes, then the first response time I'm going to expect by my team and everyone which is working in my team is 10 minutes per chat. And they're the same for every channel.
No, thank you. This is good advice, and also makes you think as well. Because just imagine, I'm just imagining a situation here. I'm a customer and I've got plenty of time. So I'll probably send you an email and I'll say, okay, I expect the answer to come back tomorrow, right? But if I'm stuck somewhere, like I've got an app for your company, and I'm on my phone, I'm stuck somewhere and I'm sending you a message, then I expect that message to help me when I'm in trouble and to fix that problem for me. A very recent experience I had was with an airline. I'm not going to name any airlines here, but I was on their app and I wanted a solution and I couldn't find it, and I panicked a bit and I had to call them in the end. But that kind of puts it in a nutshell of what you just described there. So a lot of our listeners are going to be customer service managers or customer experience managers or customer service leaders in some companies. A lot of them would now be looking to introduce new channels of conversation with the customer as well, right? So let us take one by one. So emails is something that we already have and that exists most of the times. what are the new channels that are coming up, and what are the challenges these managers or these leaders should be aware of before they go and integrate them?
Yeah. So definitely one of the channels becoming more and more common is WhatsApp. We all know WhatsApp because they started as a simply messaging tool for everyone, right? So let's meet up tonight, 8:30 in Times Square. Yeah, sure. See you later. But now it's becoming actually a really useful channel to actually assist customers, simply because I always describe WhatsApp as a hybrid channel. So it's in between chat and email, if I have to do some comparison. Why email? We will know it, right? Again, you're writing an email, you usually don't expect an answer immediately. When you're writing a WhatsApp, you don't expect an answer immediately, but you don't expect an answer maybe tomorrow morning. That could already be too late. So what is really important with WhatsApp? With WhatsApp, you can do a lot of great things. And one of the things that I always advise by using WhatsApp, try, if you already have a structure in your company, and let's say, I don't know, you're an e-commerce and you want to assist your customers with WhatsApp, try to push that as a channel, make it visible for them in order to have more conversations coming from WhatsApp. Because technically, the difference between email and WhatsApp is that you can solve this conversation way faster than, for example, email.
Okay.
If I'm receiving today an email and I reply to that email tomorrow, maybe the customer will come back to me after 2 days, and then I have again to respond. Maybe still is not 100% clear. It becomes a back and forth that can take up maybe to 7, 8 days. With WhatsApp, usually the average is way lower because it's more immediate. It's more an instant message. And especially to make an example with Trengo, you can automate so much that basically you can cover already part of the conversation that technically you can have with an email via WhatsApp itself. So we have one of the most used feature we have in Trengo is the Flowbot. And with the Flowbot, whenever a customer is starting even a WhatsApp conversation, you can trigger the Flowbot, which is most known as a chatbot. Right now, we call it Flowbot, but it's literally a chatbot. What you can do with that? Let's say, again, I'm an e-commerce and I sell shoes. I can already ask in advance by creating these automations, what is your name? Are you looking for, I don't know, you want to know something about your order, you want to know something else. The customer will pick up different choices. You're already collecting enough information to then pass all this to a human. The human saved so much time that then it will be super fast in responding.
Okay.
And we have so many customers trying to take advantage of this, and we can go really deep, but the only thing that I can say, WhatsApp is becoming more and more common.
Okay.
And the great value of WhatsApp is expectations are not that extreme or that much demanding, but the frequency of messages and the way the conversation can go, it's still really fast. It's becoming a differentiator in the way you support customers.
So to the listeners out there, if you're trying to implement WhatsApp, then Federico probably seems like the man to contact. No, I think you've given some really good advice here. And that's so true as well, because with WhatsApp, especially when you see the blue ticks, you are on the edge of your seat. You're like, I'm expecting that answer anytime now. You know, it can come anywhere. So that is so true. Now, for someone who is setting out these different channels, and you mentioned about expectations as well, customer has expectations. Generally, and I'm not going to hold you to this, generally, what is the timescales that the responses should go out to the customer in different channels or through different channels? Because a lot of companies will be setting SLAs, but they don't know what is the right SLA to set, you know? So, you know, coming from someone who has kind of seen this day in, day out, what is the general, is there a general rule or a general ruling to that?
Let's say, in my opinion, there's not a real generic rule because it depends a lot as well in what kind of industry you're working on.
Okay.
So let's assume you work in the travel industry and you have people reaching out to you because, I don't know, they are traveling somewhere and they are stuck. Well, then your SLA has to be really, really, really ambitious because you need to be fast. So rather than that, my suggestion is always to try to look at historic data.
Okay.
And compare that historic data also with the satisfaction of the customer. So if I look back in the last 6 months, now what were the cases where I received a really good CSAT from customer inquiries that are actually related to speed? And then you can create a reasonable formula where you can understand on average how fast should I be. So in our case, we have as SLAs, for example, for the email, 1 business day is usually the average, right? In 1 business day, you should come back to that email. For WhatsApp, we want to be quite ambitious, and we have an average of 1 hour as our first response time, and with chat is 10 minutes. And the reason why I'm saying this way is because, again, it's expectations. And chat, me personally, when I'm going to a website and starting a chat, it's because I'm expecting an immediate answer. Correct. And the moment I'm staying on the line for 20, 30, 40 minutes, I could start getting frustrated. Unless, and here I already, again, give a big advice, maybe there's a lot happening and that customer support team of this specific company cannot reply to me immediately. As soon as they're informing me in advance, then it's fine. Then I can understand it. So also setting out a reply, which is something that most of our customers do, will help. Because then one cool thing that you can do in Trengo is to use rules without replies. So I'm getting a message. I know that the team is really busy. They're not going to be able to respond in 10 minutes to that chat. But then I create a rule. If we're exceeding 10 minutes of first response time, trigger an auto reply. We're really sorry. We're going to be late today responding to you. Thanks a lot for your understanding and sorry for the inconvenience. Something like this. So there's not a generic rule. There are multiple ways to calculate it. My suggestion is to try always to estimate it and create an average, but also to experience it and test it month over month.
Okay. No, good point. Very good point. So the gist of it is that the customer should not be hanging around without any information. Just make sure that there is communication, and you have to set the rules for that communication to your customer for a better customer experience. I think a lot of places would kind of relate, a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, and not just that, a lot of people who use these channels would relate to that as well, because you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, that is the most frustrating part, is just waiting and not knowing what's going to happen next. So that's what it is. Okay. That brings us to another challenge, right, with companies, which is, I only have limited resources. I only have 10 people, 20 people, 100 people in my team. When I think about introducing a new communication channel, how should I think about allocation of those resources? Or is there something that I can do before I bring in this new channel?
So let's say really small organization. So of course, there can be a big issue with capacity against the volume of inquiries that I receive. My first advice is try to understand your audience. Understand all the frequent questions that you're receiving. Maybe you're getting 300 questions per day, for example. But out of these 300, there are 100 that are sort of repetitive, are more or less the same. And then you have 2 ways to go if you don't have that much capacity. One, I always suggest create a help center. Because a help center, as soon as you make it visible, maybe really basic question will not come to your team, because the customer will already read, understand, and then it's fine. And the second thing is start automating since the beginning of your journey, because the more you automate, the better it is. And again, there are a lot of examples where you can use automation to actually save time and make your team save time. And here I can actually give a recent example, pretty concrete. One of our customers, it's called Buzzword. So it's not a small organization, they're actually quite big, but we found a way to promote a specific channel that made them save time, increase the efficiency, and as well, it's applicable to every possible company, no matter the stage where you are. But especially, I find it really applicable to small companies. So if you start promoting a new channel, as you asked me before, you start with email, but then you want to push for WhatsApp. What they did is, we want to receive more conversations on WhatsApp because we are way faster and efficient in solving them. Okay. What do? First of all, we promote the WhatsApp button in our website, in the app, so we make it really visible. We are indirectly calling the attention of the customer. You want to reach out to us? The best is this channel. Please do it. And the moment they are then doing it, you're covering that biggest chunk of questions with the channel that actually you prefer, because you see that you are more efficient. What happened is that the moment they did it, they saw double of the amount of conversations going to WhatsApp, but they also saw a huge decrease in resolution time. So again, the moment you're choosing what is the next channel to go ahead with, try to understand how efficient you are with it, and then create automations for which you promote the channel where you see you are most efficient with.
Okay. So again, one good lesson from there is don't just blindly introduce a channel without knowing, it's again comes down to expectations, right? Your customer has certain expectations, and make sure you introduce it when you meet those expectations, and automation is the way to go to meet those expectations as well. I think you
One thing also here that I would really like to add is, and then going back to your point, if you want to really get prepared to add a new channel, first ask yourself how efficient I am with the current channel I'm using.
yeah.
Efficiency has a lot to do also with product knowledge. So does my team really know the product? Because if the answer is yes, then maybe we're ready for a new channel. Do we know what are the 20 most common questions we get? Why don't we create templates, quick replies? Because then these 20 questions will be covered by a copy paste and not necessarily by writing manually all the time. And again, then you can be fast, then you're ready to insert a new channel and you prepare a structure for it.
The advice that you've given here, I can so relate that in our localization industry as well, because with Lingpad, we kind of provide AI multilingual article translations, help center article translations. And a number of times the customers have come to us for multilingual help center articles is because of the same issue that you just mentioned there. They've located they've identified their most widely asked questions. And rather than giving the same answers over and over again, they've created an article, translated into 10 languages, and now anybody around the world can resolve the problem. So, some of the things that you say are not just related to your industry, but applicable in all industries.
Yes. These are common practice that I see useful, no matter which sector do you work for. Absolutely.
Okay. The next thing as well is measurement of SLAs. Okay, because we cannot talk about customer service and customer experience and not mention SLAs. So metrics, we can overload somebody with a lot of metrics. We can use a lot of numbers, which does not actually have any impact on the performance, or sometimes they're not even a true reflection of it. What side of the scale do you sit on? What should be the metrics? What are the basic metrics that we can use? What metrics should be used in what way? Give us some advice.
Especially when you're starting building a customer service function, the metric that for me is the most impactful one is and will always be the satisfaction score. I know there are a lot of opinions, right? That maybe sometimes it's subjective, but in the end, the satisfaction score is for me a sum of all the other metrics together. So satisfaction score should always be there, because if you have a big CSAT, a high CSAT, that also means that potentially you are fast, and that the quality of your message is good. So to me, CSAT, first response time, resolution time, these are the basics, right? These are the pillars of understanding how a customer service team is moving forward. And pretty simple, this is what should be always measured.
I've got a question on that then. Would you say every channel you can apply the same metrics? So the metrics that you just mentioned, the basic metrics, it can be applied to every channel, but with different values?
Exactly. So you can apply absolutely all these metrics with all channels, but they have to have different values. So again, if you set a goal for your team in terms of FRT, first response time, you cannot set the same goal for every channel. Every channel has to have a different goal. And the way also the reporting part in Trengo is done is in such a way that you can pick every single channel and see the results, see the analytics of that specific channel, and switch from one channel to another and run the analysis over there. Again, because if you're training the channels in the same way, you're never going to fully understand where you're efficient, where you can improve, when you need to act from an operational point of view, where you need to act from a communication point of view. That would never work, right? And there's also one other metric that I like a lot, and it's super different from one channel to another, which is I call it time to response or touch points. Actually, touch points is one of my favorites. So how much times you touch that conversation, so how much back and forth there was before the conversation was closed. And this, based on the channel, has to be different. A chat, which is sometimes as a more informal tone of voice, can have 25 touch points. Maybe it's not a problem. But if you have 25 touch points in an email conversation, maybe there's something that can be improved.
Okay. Now, fair enough. These are some things that are, again, related to customer expectations, because when I'm sending a chat, I'm not expecting the same response or same type of response as when I send an email. So it is just about understanding those. Okay. Around, you've shared a lot of experience and you've shared a lot of ideas, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners would want to get some more of those ideas or try and discover them for themselves. I have a question around that, which is, where do you get your ideas from? Is there like a blog or some customer service guru or some customer experience website or any event or any podcast, anything that you listen to, that you read, that you can share with us, so that it's like, knowledge, basically anyone else can also go and have the same experience and get some knowledge from there?
Well, it's a combination of a lot of things.
Okay.
I have to say. First of all, I learned a lot by the people that were surrounding me. Like, I consider myself really lucky. I had people from which I could learn, that gave me also the freedom to practice and to really start learning fast, by not just giving me a book or some theory and then good luck, but literally, okay, these are 5 pieces that are written there. Please transform them into practice. This is the way. I'm super curious, so I attend webinars. I like to read books. I try to keep myself always informed, and a lot has also to do with the culture of the company. So Trengo in this case, where I have a lot of freedom to test, to use my creativity, and this is something that goes across the entire company. So I don't feel alone in trying to test different things every week. We spend a lot of time with Anik, the manager of the customer support team, trying to just understand, why don't we try to change this workflow and let's see what is the result. Why don't we try to implement these new quick replies and let's see if the customers are happier. So it's a combination.
Okay. And one last thing before we kind of go into the trivia question, which is events. Would we find you or Trengo at any events or any events that you're planning to attend? Maybe online, maybe in person. Is there any plans to do that, where our listeners or someone, when they do find you or when they can see you, interact with you there?
So definitely an opportunity can be for the webinars that we host here at Trengo. We host webinars at least once per quarter, and we are trying to do this more and more often. So then there could be that either myself or someone from my teams is always hosting one of these webinars. And as Trengo, we are trying always to be present at certain events, such as FIRST. So there's a big one in the Netherlands called Dagen. Maybe I'm not pronouncing it really correctly. I'm really sorry, Dutchies. But it's a big tech fair for e-commerces, and we try to attend a lot of these events. And our plan is to attend more and more also outside of the Netherlands. So we've already been in Madrid as well, in Berlin, and we want to do it across Europe and outside Europe as well, if applicable.
So for listeners, please don't worry. We'll leave the links of all of that in the description below. So please don't worry about that. We will get an easy ride to these sites and to the webinars as well. Okay. Also, we've also got a sort of announcement for our listeners as well, which is that this is not the end of the podcast with Federico today. We will be, and as Federico has promised us more time, so there will be a series of the Trengo series, as we'll call it. There will be a second podcast coming out soon, and we will be discovering more, and we will be covering more such topics that will help customer service experience in general there. But before we let Federico go, Federico, I have got some trivia questions for you. They're completely non-work related. That's something I've prepared you for. So you don't know what the questions are, but I just want to see your reaction at these questions, and I want to know what answers would you give in that case, okay? So there are 5 questions, 5 trivia questions, and they are would you rather questions, all right? So
Go ahead.
I'll go with the first one. Now, would you rather only be able to wear clown shoes or not wear any shoes for the rest of your life?
Well, clown shoes. And I can tell you why. My favorite superhero is Batman.
Okay.
And the biggest enemy of Batman is Joker. So I also really like Joker. Joker is, for me, the best clown in the world, let's say. So I would definitely wear his shoes.
Okay, that I did not expect that. I thought you'd probably go bare feet up for the rest of your life. But okay, that's why this is a cool round. The next one. Okay, would you rather that the house that you live in has one smell for the rest of the time, or every time you wake up, there is a new smell, a random smell in your house, and you're not in control of it?
I would go for one smell all my life, and it will definitely be pizza.
You can never go wrong waking up to pizza smell. Oh, that's really creative. Thank you. Okay, next question. Would you rather be a famous director or a famous actor?
This is a tough one. I think a famous director.
Famous director.
Simply sort of director that can really be close to the actors, so I can still give a lot of input and so on. But I really like to transfer knowledge, communicate, and teach people whenever I can, and be sort of in the middle of the orchestra. So that will be the same if I would be a director.
Fair enough. I get your justification there. Next one. Would you rather live in a cave or a tree house for the rest of your life?
Again, Batman is my favorite superhero. I would definitely live in a cave.
Go for the cave. Go for the cave. Okay. Last one, and this is the last question. Would you rather be able to control water or fire, and why?
I would control water. I would like to control water because if there's one thing that we all need as human beings is at least water. So if I could control fire, I can have a lot of fun, I have to say. I would definitely have a lot of fun, but maybe I don't know for how long I would survive, right? So I would prefer to control water and be sure that for the rest of my life, I have enough water available to me.
Federico, you're thinking like Batman, like the superhero. So, I'm with you on that as well. But no, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate that. Listeners, this is not the end of the series with Federico. We will be coming up with a new episode, so please stay tuned. And thank you, Federico. Thank you so much for your time. I had a lovely time talking to you.
Thanks to you. Thanks for the opportunity, and absolutely been a pleasure. And looking forward to the next episode.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this video in our podcast series. Please do let us know in the comments whether you like the video or if you have any suggestions. We have an amazing list of guests lined up for you in the coming few weeks. Please do like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you and see you soon. Bye-bye.